onto Bloor Street now. We're in what is considered the well-to-do community in Toronto. A lot of high-end shops in this part of town. The horns are blaring, the whistles, they're being blown, the flags are flying, and people on the streets that are shopping are stopped in their tracks. So if any goal today was to get the attention of people in this part of Toronto, it appears that that is exactly what is happening right now. Back to you.
Jackie, I wonder if we can ask if you can hear us there. I know you said that some of the construction workers were showing support, but what about those that are on the sidewalks, just people that are kind of walking by? Are they, do they seem like they're supportive as well? What's your sense?
Well, they're certainly listening, that's for sure. I'll get Tristan, my camera guy, just to sort of pan to the corner there where people have sort of just stopped in their tracks. They have shopping bags in their hands, and they're clapping. So they seem to be supporting the cause and the message that these thousands of people are trying to get across. So as I mentioned, and if you can hear me, another construction worker in a cement truck, that's the horn that you can hear behind me. They're certainly getting their message across, and it appears as though they've got some support behind them.
All right, thank you very much, Jackie. We certainly can hear you. We've also got Stephen LeDrew here in studio with us right now. Stephen, let's talk a bit about this march. It's, turned out to be fairly large, wrapping around a couple city blocks. They're walking the streets. Jackie says people are clapping in support, even on, as she said, the well-to-do area, Bloor Street. What do you make of that?
Well, I think that, first of all, at the first blush, when you saw them going up Bay Street, and we knew that there's construction on Bay Street, we thought there might be more congestion there than otherwise. And then, as we just heard from Jackie, that was probably a stroke of brilliance, because there are cement trucks. It's a big construction site, cement trucks lined up there. Who's going to join with their horns to support these labor protesters than the guys on the cement trucks and on the construction site? We had a live eye shot from before. Maybe I'll get that one back while we're listening to Jackie, and there it is right now. That is looking north from Queen's Park. On the very left, you can see the green copper roof of the Royal Ontario Museum. So that's at the corner of Avenue Road and Bloor. So we saw them marching down there, and they were still over at Bay Street. So as you say, just to point out the veracity of it, is that they were down University Avenue there, all along Bloor Street, and still over at Bay Street. So that is a big crowd. It's a lot bigger than when we saw them listening to the speeches. It just, as I said, shows the point that it's a lot more fun to be in a march than it is to be listening to speeches at Queen's Park. It's good that we have no reports of any friction yet. Which is when Sid Ryan was here on Thursday night, and I said, it sounds like sort of a class thing that you're going to march along the Mink Mile. And he looked at me and he said, well, Stephen, it's Saturday afternoon. Normally we go down to King and Bay where all those capitalists hang out, but no one's there on a Saturday afternoon, so we thought we'd go up and test it out in Yorkville. So it's good that they're making their point. It's good that there's no friction on this thing, Carmen, and that what we're seeing right now is the end of the march as it sort of winds down back to Queen's Park.
Well, Stephen, let's talk about the point. Let's talk about why they're here today. So the Ontario budget, a vote coming up on Tuesday. We have the NDP and the McGuinty Liberals negotiating right now. Now, Andrea Horwath's asked for a number of things. She's asked for some more support for health care, some more support for child care, some more taxes on people who earn more than $500,000. Now, she also backed off an earlier request to take the HST off electricity bills. So far, she's gotten a response from the Premier on a couple of those issues, but one that she's still waiting for is that tax on people who earn more than $500,000. Now, the Premier has not said whether or not he'll support that. They're supposed to meet on Monday. Ms. Horwath has asked for a meeting a little bit earlier on Sunday. I put a request into the Premier's office to see if they've agreed to that. We don't know yet if he's going to agree to that, but this is really cutting it down to the wire in terms of that Tuesday vote and whether or not they can come to an agreement and get the support of the NDP.
And there's some friction, not friction, there's a difference of opinion in the Liberal caucus as to that motion to have higher taxes on those who pay more, who earn more than $500,000 a year. But let's just go back to the speeches. Sid Ryan started off talking about enough of this, and there's a great phrase. He said, this tax-crazed madness, that corporate taxes should be up, not down. He said corporate taxes now are lower than they actually were 15 years ago when there's another conservative government. He said that about the main point of his theme was, he said, we have a right to collective bargaining. And that really resonates with a lot of unions, of course. He's also been very actively speaking about the Air Canada labor problems, saying that the government should be stepping in. And right now with the teachers, there is not only the issue of the wages, but there's also movement afoot by the education minister to sort of divvy up the collective bargaining into various geographic areas, which they are very, very concerned about. So, I mean, they have some themes that are resonating. That's what it's all about. And you can see it's resonating because as probably people are watching here at TV this afternoon, they went down to join because there's a bigger crowd there now than there certainly was during those speeches.
Okay, thank you very much, Stephen. And keep it here on Toronto's Breaking News, CP24. We're going to bring you back live to this march just a little bit later on in the show.
Premier Dalton McGuinty would hear their message loud and clear.
Thousands of people from various labor and community groups rallied at Queen's Park today. They are angry about the provincial government, which will be voted on next week. That is the budget, which will be voted on Tuesday. But today's protest wasn't just limited to the legislature. The protesters later marched throughout the downtown core. It was a large but peaceful protest. Members of about 100 groups were on the move trying to show the McGuinty Liberals that they want some change. The demonstrators eventually ended up back at Queen's Park, and that's where CTV's Ashley Rowe is standing by live. Ashley, there was a wide array of issues discussed here and being protested as well, but we're hearing that some of the biggest concerns seem to be service cuts and wage freezes.
Yes, absolutely, Colin. Well, with so many groups here, you can only imagine there were a wide variety of concerns. One thing, though, that everyone felt in unison, this budget is unfair. They call themselves We Are Ontario. A sea of flags blanketed Queen's Park as nearly 90 labor groups rallied to take a stand.
This is the rebirth of a social movement across the province that will work together. Stand strong! Stand united!
Thousands of people turned out to say the provincial budget benefits the rich at the expense of the working class, and they want changes made.
My members are here by the busload today to protect our rights and to protect collective bargaining.
One of their biggest defenders in this cause?
Andrew Horwath.
All we want to see is a little bit of fairness. So I look forward to talking with the Premier, hopefully tomorrow, to talk about how do we make the budget more fair.
After hearing speeches, they marched through the downtown core. Many people here say fairness means putting a wealth surtax on people who earn more than $500,000 a year. Although Premier Dalton McGuinty was the target at much of the rally, he has signaled he is willing to negotiate, already committing funds for childcare and people with disabilities. Two key NDP demands. South! Solidarity! With only a few days before the legislature votes on the budget.
I hope he's looking out the window at the people out here.
Who are we? We are Ontario!
These labor groups are hoping the Premier will hear their call for change. So once again, the budget will be voted upon on Tuesday. Andrea Horwath and the Premier will be meeting on Monday. She's actually requested that he meet with her tomorrow to get the negotiations going. Of course, one of those things to be negotiated will be that wealth surtax. Reporting live at Queen's Park, I'm Ashley Rowe. Back to the desk.
Thank you, Ashley. Well, this is a frightening story. A mother in the city's West End